Good morning, everybody. Just going to make sure that everything is showing up. And if you are popping on, if you can let me know if you can hear me. Hope everybody is doing well today and enjoying the day. It's beautiful and sunny here. It feels like a fall day. I feel like my iPad is very slow today. I don't know. Let's see. Hopefully everything is okay. I can see things here. We are going to make a card today with some really beautiful products. Hello, Sanchita. Hi, Becky. Can you guys hear me okay? You can just let me know. See, I have ink under my fingernails. I was crafting this morning and got a little bit inky. We're going to be doing a little bit of watercolor blending, which is really fun. We've got some really great products that I pulled together to make this fall card. And I'm going to give you a look at them. So we've got, of course, our Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. These are some the Easy Runner, and this is the permanent one, and these are the foam squares, the 3D foam squares, which are essential for my card making. And then we have Stampers Anonymous. This is the Halloween collection. They've come out with a lot of stamps and stencil combos. If you haven't seen them, be sure to have a look because there's so many beautiful ones. This one is, so these stamps I believe were maybe in red rubber stamp or in the cling stamps rather, and they've put them on they've done them in the polymer, I don't know what this is called now that I say it. I don't know, is it polymer stamps? Anyway, the clear stamps. And we've got a stencil. These two stencils have been separately released before, but I really like that you get a double stencil. So if you don't have these are really great. And if you have them in the small, it's really nice to have the larger stencil. So you've got the plaid and you've got this background, like spotted background. Hi, Lori. Hi, Anita. Welcome, Sakshi and Susan and Rita. Hope you guys are doing great. So we are going to use this kind of spotted one. Really love the effect of that. And you can easily just mask this off with some sticky notes, and then you can do your blending. We're going to actually move it so we can do a larger panel. I'm really liking these stencils. So that's the stencil and stamp combo. It's the THMM 150 is the number if you're looking for it. And I love the leaves. They're so vintage looking and rustic, and I feel like they just really go with a lot of different fall designs. Then we've got these beautiful Serenity Fair washi tapes. So I have linked the Serenity Fair Facebook page in the description if you want to have a look and head over to their website. So this one here, it has a scalloped edge on each, and it's like a lace pattern. They have so many beautiful tapes. They've got thinner ones with beautiful designs. They've got really big ones that I've used before, and they're really gorgeous. So this is like a brown lace, and I thought it looked really nice with the fall feel. Hi, Yuri, Margarita. And then we've got this one. This is one of my favorites. Look how beautiful this is. You've got the trees and then the reflection in the water. Really loving that. So we're going to use these today, but check out their shop because they have tons of different ones and lots of different ways you can use washi tapes, right? We've got some OLFA Craft scissors. I'm going to do a little bit of fussy cutting. Then we've got some distress inks, oxides, and archival inks. So distress ink we're going to use for watercoloring. It's more of a brighter color. It's still going to be soft, but then the oxides we're using for the stenciling, and that's a little bit of a softer blend. And then the archival inks are permanent, and so you can stamp. That's what I've stamped the leaves with. Then you don't have to worry about any of your ink bleeding when you get water on it. We've got some watercolor paper. So I've gone ahead and I've stamped all the leaves, and I wanted to give you a look. Let's move this kind of a little bit out of the way here. So I kept one of these out, and I wanted to show you how really quick and easy. So these are the OLFA scissors. We can easily trim this out, and basically you're moving your scissors. You're moving your scissors around the corners, but otherwise you're just moving your paper. You're just kind of moving your paper with your left hand if you're right-handed, and keep those scissors pretty much straight. I'm keeping my scissors pretty much straight. Fussy cutting, it's kind of one of those things, you either love it or hate it. But if you use sharp, small scissors and you're moving your paper rather than trying to like angle your hand, it really is quick and easy. Like that was super quick. So I cut out my leaves, and I'm going to show you how we are going to color them and make them this beautiful, the fall colors. So I grabbed out a bunch of colors that I felt like looked like fall. I've got my distress sprayer, really liking how this sprays. And we've got our cutout leaves. Now you could do it with a full panel of leaves and just dip your full panel in and cut them afterwards, but I felt like by fussy cutting them first, that kind of allowed me to get the colors that I wanted to, like if I wanted a little bit of brown, whereas if you have the full paper, you kind of are just getting what you get. Welcome to everybody who's popping in. I've got these Elizabeth Craft tweezers. These are my go-to tweezers. And here are just the inks that we got. So I just got this glass mat. It's the Tim Holtz glass mat, and it's the white one. So I just got this, and I'm very excited to use it. So of course it's really great for any kind of ink blending or mixed media, because you can put it there and wipe it up easily. And I like that. Not quite as much glare as the black one. I've used my black one for years. I love it. But of course, if you're trying to video, sometimes you get a little bit more glare. So this I find is going to help with that as well. And all I'm doing is adding these little ink cubes and smushing them down. Hi, Tanya. Smushing them down. I've just got colors that I feel like would go well with fall colors. Probably going to do a little bit more of the green because I want a little bit extra. And then we've got some brown. And then we're just going to give this a little bit of a spritz. So we've got our ink that's wet. And this is where the tweezers come in. And I'm just going to grab this. This does not have to be perfect. We're just going for those colors of fall. Two that I want to be green. Just kind of looking at my sample card. I want to do this one green and this one kind of green. And the other ones are just going to be shades of red and some brown in there. So all I'm doing, and this is stamped on watercolor paper. So I stamped with ground espresso, and you can see it's just a nice light inking. I didn't go crazy to have it perfect and really They're not meant to be a perfect stamp. It's just, it's got that rustic feel to it. So I felt like the brown was a little bit better with the fall leaves than the black. I originally stamped them in black, and then I felt like, you know what, I think I want some green. So what I'm doing first, if you want colors to blend, you can then go dip this straight away into another color. But I kind of like the idea of, I want this to be primarily green, and then I'm just going to add on a little bit of color. So I've got this Ranger Heat It tool, which I also love. Hi, Connie. And I'm going to just dry it a little bit. Doesn't have to be super dry, but if I want to layer the colors, I do want to have it a little bit dry. And the Heat It tool does get hot enough to emboss things if you want to emboss with it as well. I really like it for doing backgrounds, and you can see how then we're getting those splotchy areas, and I feel like that is so perfect for leaves. So I can either come back in and do more green and have it darker, or then I can start dipping it into some different colors. And I find, especially with having this heat tool and it's kind of blowing over here, I'm gonna have to keep adding a little bit of water, which is fine. So then I'm just gonna grab that, get a little bit of brown on that edge. How fun is that? And then those colors are still going to blend, but because we did dry the bottom layer, you're not gonna get, like, not everything is gonna run into each other. We can add a little bit of yellow onto there. And you can be pretty strategic in how you're adding your color. If you feel like you need a little bit darker or lighter, just by doing the individual leaves. And then they're going to dry pretty quickly. So we can set it aside. Then we'll go with, so this one I also wanted to have a green tinge to it. Hi Stacy, hi Roxanne. How's everybody doing today? Hope you're doing great. We have had such a nice fall here in Calgary. The weather has been like summer weather, literally. It's been so good. We had a pretty rainy summer, so really nice to be able to still enjoy the weather. It is definitely starting to feel like fall, especially at night, and in the mornings it's much cooler, and I love fall. So I'm just going back and forth, picking up the different colors. And I need to add a little bit more here. This mat is also heat resistant. And even if you feel like there's a little spot that you need some color on, you're having trouble, like just use your finger and tap it on. Like we can just tap a little bit of color there. Then we can grab a little bit of color here. And look how pretty that is with those colors. Okay, and then we're just gonna keep going. So this one, this maple leaf, we'll do red. That is so nice. Usually just do that initial dip. So the trees are just starting to turn color here. Is anybody else getting some fall colors where they live? I find that once the leaves start turning here, then you really only have about 2 weeks and they're off the trees. So I try to get out with the kids and do some fall walks, get some fall pictures, because they just don't last long. And I'm originally from Nova Scotia, and the leaves there, they're there for, you know, you've got a couple months to enjoy the leaves, so I do kind of miss that. All right, we can even go back in, add a little bit more splotches. These would even be nice if you went and gave them a spritz of some of the mica spray afterwards. I didn't with these, but they would be nice. And you can see even when the colors blend, you're gonna get a nice blend of like an orange there, which is very pretty. Fall is definitely my favorite time of year. And just by keeping your heat going, look how like those big splotches of the water, those are so fun, hey? And even if you mix red and green, which make brown, brown is fine for fall. I think that crushed olive is one of my favorite colors. Okay. Oh, that looks fun. Okay, and then we've got, let's spray on a little bit more water. If there's a certain color that you want, just go ahead and add that to your background as well. Could you not just do this all day? And I'm just going to be mixing these last two, and we're just going to see what we get. Hello, Beatrice. Hi, Isabella. So we're just going to dry these. I think kids love doing these too, because mixing colors is always so fun to see what you get. My kids always loved doing color mixing. And it's not, this isn't a big mess. So you've got your color on here, and then it just wipes up, especially the distress inks are so easy to clean. Oh, that green looks really nice on there. So pretty. I think we're almost done with this one. Maybe a little, we might need a little bit more brown, I feel like. Okay, I love the sentiments that are also with this set. Okay, and one more. Aren't those pretty? Hi, Amy. All right, this one last leaf. And we're just gonna dip up all these colors. And if you did have a large amount of ink, I would just put down a piece of paper and just pick up what's left. We probably won't have too much left. If you have the larger distress inks, you're just going to do larger spots, or you know, tap the edge of your ink. You can also use those, the oxides would look pretty, and you'd get less vibrant but more of like a chalky soft finish. So those would also be really nice. And I think there's lots that you can do with these leaves. You could stamp them and color them in with your watercolor pencils. You could emboss them. Could just do a whole background with some leaves. So I think we're good now. All right, so we've done our leaves. We're gonna put those aside. I think they look really great. And then we're just going to give this a spray and grab a cloth. Go. A cloth to clean up all the messes. And that's how easy it is to clean up. So really super easy. All right, and then we are going to grab a panel. We're going to add some of that stenciling, and we're going to use the oxides for that. I love this blotchy stencil. It looks so fun, and I feel like there's so many things you could do with this. So I'm just going to have it so it's kind of at the top of my paper, but I don't want to get the plaid in it. So I'm going to just make sure to mask it at the plaid. And then I've got these two oxides. So I've got brushed corduroy and scorched timber. So we're going to use the brushed corduroy first. This is just such a nice soft brown. I feel like this is really great for fall. And this stencil, I mean, it's so fun, and you don't have to worry if you miss a few spots. Just the way the stencil is designed, it's going to look great no matter what. Kind of pull that up, see if we want to add any more. And then I'm going to come in with the scorched timber. I did move that a little bit, but, and just add it in a few places. So I'm not even worrying too much about where it's going. It's just to add a little bit of darker brown. Then we can turn that over, and I'm just, again, I'm kind of matching up where the other edge ended, and then going over it. Now we are going to use that beautiful washi tape on the seam that it creates. So there is a little bit of a seam, but I think you would be able to work around that no matter what. So if you want to add this to a bigger panel, I would just go for it. So you can see there's a little bit, but really, I mean, I don't think you'd look at this and see there's a specific seam there because it's really nice and blotchy. And the plaid would be beautiful. Like you could easily do that as your background and just mask it off. So that would be super, super cute. Okay, so we've got our background. Oxides again, really easy to clean up. You just spray them with some water and wipe them up. Now we're going to come in with this gorgeous washi tape. So if you weren't here at the beginning, we're using Serenity Fair washi tapes. We've got this brown one with the gorgeous lace on it. And then we've got the trees with the reflection and the mountain in the background, which I just love. So we're simply going to kind of place this over the seam so you don't notice that seam. And I'm just cutting it a little bit off so I can wrap it around to the back. Those are my OLFA scissors. There's some really, really great large background washi tapes as well. So definitely check out her shop. So we can just pop that around to the back. Is that, like, that is so pretty. So when I was using the washi tape and deciding what to do with it, I ended up putting it on a piece of cardstock, and then I cut it in half, and I used this as a decorative edge. And so I'm going to use the other half of it. So I just wrapped it around. The other half of it for a decorative edge. So again, I'm going to take these OLFA scissors. I'm just moving the paper, not my scissors, and just making a little bit of a decorative edge, and that's going to go on our card. We don't have to be perfect with this. And we're going to have that foil cardstock behind it. I also like using the large panels of the washi tape and then putting them on a piece of cardstock and then die cutting them. So I've done that a few times, and it just gives you this beautiful washi tape image that then you have die cut really nicely. So that's quick and easy. Hi, Judith. Okay, so that's going to go on our card. We can bring in our Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. So we've got the Easy Runner. I have, this is from Prism Studios, their gold cardstock. And this is the permanent tape. So we're gonna put that right on our edge. I love having fall cards made, and then if I'm giving someone a thank you, or if it's a birthday in the fall, then I'll actually pull from the fall cards and I'll put a sentiment on the inside that's like happy birthday or thank you, or, you know, welcome back teacher, or whatever. And I like doing that. All right, and then we're going to put on our little lace panel. And just kind of place it down with a little bit of this gold peeking out. Then we've got our stenciled panel. So before we put this on, I actually want to stamp my sentiment right onto my background. So I'm going to move this stuff out of the way. And I have the Altenew stamp wheel. So this is great for stenciling as well. If you want to stick your stencil and your paper on, it sticks really nicely. And I love stamping with this. So I'm going to put my paper right here. Then we can grab this. There's so many really nice sentiments here. We did Every Adventure is Worthwhile on that sample card, so we'll do that. And I'm just kind of eyeballing. There we go. And then you could use that brown ink. I went with the black just for a little bit darker. This is the Black Soot. And the archival ink, it stamps nicely. And then if we were to go over this with any type of watercolor, we're not going to, but if we were to spritz it or something, we wouldn't have to worry about anything smudging, which is always nice. All right, then we've got our sentiment. And I think these two, this would be so fun to make a whole bunch of these and use them on scrapbook pages, like on a fall page would be really beautiful. Two, I also have lots of backgrounds that I've created, like playing around with inks and colors. And you could just take those backgrounds and then start stamping in the areas that you want the leaves in, and then just sit there and watch, you know, your favorite show and cut out the leaves, and you'd have so many beautiful leaves that you could use on cards or pages. That's, I think, what I might do, because I have a lot of backgrounds that I need to pull out and use. So we've got our panel, loving those colors. We are going to just add our Easy Runner right around the edge. And a little bit in the center. And then we'll just put on, I'm going to open this up to put it on. How's everybody's week going? I've been like going insane trying to get some projects done for stuff. It's been fun but busy, and then my daughter's soccer has also started up, so I'm trying to coordinate all those things. You know what? I feel like I've just got this tiny bit. It's so hard when you can't get your head so close to your project. There we go. All right, and then we're going to add some of our Scrapbook Adhesives 3D foam squares. So what I'm going to do first, I'm not going to take the backing off of it first. I'm going to kind of decide where I want to position them. And this is going to go down there. This will put a couple of the smaller ones. These are the same height, so you don't have to worry about them being at different heights if you're using different squares. Like that. And we'll do this one. Then that last one, because I like to have an odd number on the front. The last one we're going to pop inside. So that, to me, that looks pretty good. It looks like the leaves are just softly falling. So then I can just remove the backings. I do love that about the Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. The backings are always so nice and easy to get off there. Okay. Little piece of paper there. Just looking at these watercolor leaves makes me happy. You can kind of tuck them in so they look like they're clustered a little bit, and then put a little bit of tape on here. And you could really use this card. We're going to put that right on the inside. I think that's such a fun thing to open it up. Hi, Serenity Fair washi tapes. Thanks, Lori. Open it up. You could even, a lot of times what I like to do with washi tapes too is add them to the inside of the card, add them to the envelope. There's so many great things that you could do. So check out Serenity Fair washi tapes website. And then we have the Halloween stamps and stencil from Stampers Anonymous, but they have lots of different combinations of these stamps and stencils. And what I will probably do with this is give it a spray and then lay some paper in there. I think that would be a really fun background. And then we've had lots of fun with all these things, and we have this beautiful card. Thanks, Julie. This beautiful fall card, and I just love this. That's my favorite. All right, guys, you have a wonderful day. Hopefully you get to do some crafting, enjoy some beautiful fall weather, and take some time to do some fun things for yourself. And even if it's doing a little bit of online crafty shopping, I think that's fun to do as well. So have a great day, guys. I will talk to you soon, and thanks so much for watching. Bye.